So it's a new year, it's 2023, and I felt like it was the perfect time for me to film this video, especially because I'm finding it hard to wrap my head around the fact that it's already a new year. Because with the start of a new year, you kind of expect yourself to upgrade in some sort of way. You kind of expect you to level up, and I am not quite ready to do that because I feel like 2022 was very good for me, especially the second half. So I'm really not ready to process everything that happened the last year and to assess what progress I have made or what are the things that I need to improve on. So I have not really had the time to do all of that, but at the same time I thought that I could make this video to mark the start of a new year. So before I start getting into it, I feel like I need to give a disclaimer by saying that I am in no way trying to uh, encourage or influence anyone to leave school or leave college, but at the same time I don't think that it's a big deal, except for the fact that our minds have been wired in such a way that we never question going to college. It's a default setting in our minds at this point, where we finish school and we're like, okay, we're going to college. Which college? It's always, okay, which college am I going to? It's never, am I going to college? Do I really want to go to college? And especially in our country, we are wired to think that college is compulsory and it's the only right path to take. And it is right to some extent, but only if you want to commercialize your degree. So I think we need to be very conscious of the decisions that we make in life, because at the end you are going to be responsible for the consequences and not your parents. But I can also certainly say with experience that college is not for everybody. So first things first, if you have never seen my face before, I am Nyapi and I am 22 years old, and I was a student in NIFT Delhi, which is a fashion college. It's National Institute of Fashion Technology and it's a very prestigious college. And I dropped out of it. So let's talk about how that happened and why I dropped out of college. I did make some notes on my phone so that I don't go off topic. And okay. So in this video, I'll be talking more about the process of me dropping out of college and my experience after dropping out of college, rather than the details of why I dropped out of college, because it's kind of complicated and it's not as simple as I just stopped liking college so I dropped out. I wish it was as simple as that, but it's not. So I will be touching on the reason, but I will not be going into details because it will make a very long video. So okay, so let's first start with the reason why I'm making this video. So I actually I dropped out, I think 2 years ago or 3 years, I'm really not sure, but I think I dropped out second semester, so fourth semester I think. But it was during COVID. I dropped out during COVID, so I really wanted to film this video even before I dropped out, because I was really not in a good state of mind in that period. So I was just like very anxious all the time, and I really wanted to quit college, but I was scared too, and I was scared of what people will think. I was really not scared of what people will think, but I was scared of failing myself, and I was scared to face the fact that I did not want to go to my dream college anymore. So I was just I was not in a sound state of mind. So at that time I was like, as soon as I drop out of college, I am going to sit down and make this video and tell the whole not the whole world, tell everyone why I did this and exactly what I went through. But I'm glad that I did not film it then, because that video would have been completely different than the one that I'm filming now. Because if I would have filmed it then it would be completely out of anger, and I did not have the time to process everything that had happened to me then. But now I am fine. I am doing very well mentally, and I have had the time to process everything and heal. So I am more than ready to talk about it. So to give you some context, I was a good student in school, and my parents they expected me to become a doctor because I was kind of a bookworm, and so they assumed that I would become a doctor when I grew up. I don't remember if I ever wanted to be a doctor, but I I don't know, I really don't remember, but I I was never a hard worker. I was not very sincere, but for some reason people always thought that I was good in studies, which maybe I was, but I never worked hard. And my whole mindset during my school life was that even though I'm not going to do well in my exams, I know that I would do well if I were to study. But I'm not going to study, but I know that if I were to study, then I would be good, So that was my whole school life. But everyone in my school kind of knew that I wanted to be a designer, and I'd always wanted to be a designer. I don't know where that came from, but I always wanted to be a designer. But it was never really serious. It was kind of a dream, and as a child, I never thought that it was even possible to pursue a career in designing. So it was just like a fantasy of mine to be a designer. But then I grew up. I barely finished high school, and then I decided to pursue designing. It was never my dream to go to NIFT Delhi as such. I just looked up and I found that NIFT Delhi was the, I don't know, number one college in India for fashion. So I decided to go there, and I have to say that my brother was very supportive all throughout my journey, from going to college to leaving college. So I'm just really grateful that I have such a supportive family. So I got into NIFT Delhi, and although my parents were, obviously not excited because they always wanted me to become a doctor, but they never once in their life imposed their feelings or imposed their wants on me. They never forced me to do anything that I would not want to do. In my entire life, ever since I was capable of making my own decisions, I have been making all of them. So they were very supportive, and there was no problem. And then I got into NIFT, and the first year of college was easily one of the best years of my life. And I will never forget the first year of college because I learned a lot of things, not necessarily academic, but I learned a lot about myself. I gained a lot of confidence. I also made very good friends, although not many, but I made my best friends there. So I will be forever grateful for that. But when the second year started, I kind of started realizing that maybe this is not what I'm supposed to do. Because and don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming anything on my college, and it's not like I was not aware of what I was signing up for. I knew that it was going to be difficult. I knew that I was going to have to work very hard. I know a lot of people think that it's just dressing up. Fashion school is just dressing up and just making clothes, but it's, you don't actually start making clothes until you reach like what, the third year or the fourth year. So I am a creative person, and I need some kind of outlet very frequently. So I need to be doing something. I need to be learning some new things every now and then. But I felt like everything they were teaching was purely theoretical, and which is, I mean, absolutely necessary. But I was kind of not, I was like, when are we going to actually learn to make clothes? And everyone in my college, everyone around me, even my friends, my classmates, everyone seemingly hated college and everything about it. But we also knew that while we are complaining about all our assignments and everything about college, we deep down in our hearts, we knew that we were so privileged to be complaining about, these assignments about fashion subculture, about clothes, about history, about fashion. So we knew that even when we were complaining, we were grateful to be there, and I knew that as well. I would complain all the time, but at the end of the day, I would be like, oh my god, look at what I'm complaining about. I'm literally complaining about an assignment that people would dream to do. So this situation was completely different from when I actually started to hate college. Okay, so then COVID happened, and I started to dread college even more. Even though it was online, it was even more difficult for me to attend online classes, and it was just not for me. It's very hard to explain without sounding ignorant, but I found it really hard to justify to myself that I was doing assignments that I really did not care about, and I did not believe that they were helping me in any way. I was just literally, copying stuff from the internet and making presentations. I was just over it. So all this really started to affect my mental health, and you should know that I was never a person to be ever anxious about anything. Like, you would not believe when I say that I never used to be anxious about anything. I really did not have anything to be anxious about. For example, even if I had an exam tomorrow and I did not study anything, I would still not be anxious. I would still be very chill. I was just not a person to stress about anything. But this was a very stressful period of my life. So I started to get stressed every time I received a notification from like the several groups that I had on my phone from college. And I used to, every time I received a notification, I used to be like, oh my god, no, I can't be doing this anymore. But the idea of leaving college had still not crossed my mind yet, because that was just not a question. So I just kept on repressing my feelings, and I skipped a lot of classes, and then I completely stopped attending classes. I was so anxious at the time. I started taking medications, and then everything went worse. So I am not going to go into all of that, but yeah, all of that happened. I had a panic attack, and then I started having all these symptoms, and yeah, I was diagnosed with anxiety, and then I started taking even more stronger medications. It was just not getting any better, but I soon reached a point where I was like, if I'm not going to quit college, I am no longer going to survive. I finally decided that I was going to quit college. I was very disappointed with myself. That was the worst day of my life, when I finally came to terms with the fact that I was going to leave college. And I told my sister, and then I told my mom. At first she thought that I was Oh yeah, at first I thought that I would, just skip this semester, and then, flunk this semester, and then I don't even remember how it works now. But at first I was like, okay, I'm just going to flunk this semester and start afresh next semester. But then I was like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. So, but you need to know that this was not a very conscious decision. I really did not have the time to think about the consequences or anything, because I was like, I I thought that I would go mad if I did not do that. So I was just like, I am going to quit college, and then I'll see what happens. But I did have this reasoning that even though I quit college, it's not going to make a difference in my life anyways, because I'm not going to use my degree for anything, because I'm not going to work for anyone. So it would not make a big difference. Obviously it would make a difference if I were to commercialize my degree, but I never planned to do that anyways. So I was just like, yeah, I'm going to do this. So then came the terrifying part of telling my family. I told my mother, and then she was just like, she was very calm, and she knew what I was going through. She didn't say much. She was just like, oh, but what about your degree? And I was like, I don't need my degree anyways. And I also did not do a very good job explaining myself, because I was really not in a state of mind to explain anything. I was just know that I was in my worst state of mind. So now I had to tell my brother, and I knew that he would be supportive, but I also knew that he would be very disappointed, as I was with myself. So I was kind of dreading telling him, and then I told him. And the first time I told him, he was speechless. He did not know what to say, because obviously he was not going to be like, no, you cannot do that. Why are you doing this? I knew that he would never say that. But then he called me, I think the next day, and I remember being so relieved after the phone call, because he was just like so reassuring, and he was so chill. He was like, why do you think this is such a big deal? It's you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to force yourself to do anything. And he said that Allah and Abu are also not going to force you to do anything, and they're not going to say anything to you. So I was like so relieved, although I knew that everyone was going to be disappointed in me. And I was very disappointed in myself, but I was still very relieved to finally get it off my chest. You would find it surprising that I never really told my father, or I never really asked for his permission to leave college. I think my brother probably told him, but he never addressed it to me. Neither did I talk to him about it because I was very ashamed of myself. So I really did not want to talk about it. So the first time that we addressed it was, I remember when he came back from Itanagar to Alo, where I was. So we were just sitting on the ground, and he just looked at me and he said, "Why are you so stressed? You do not need to stress over all these things. If you don't think that this is something that you want to do, then just quit it. No one is forcing you to do anything that you don't want to." And that was it. I did not say a word back. I just smiled, and that was it. We never talked about it again. The amount of relief that I got after that conversation was, it's so wild to think about how supportive my family was back then, even though I am quite sure that they were hugely disappointed and were very worried about what I was going to do after I quit college. But they never once questioned my decision. They never once told me that I was being irresponsible and that I needed to get a degree and that I had to finish my degree. They never once said anything to me that would make me feel guilty. And I know that not everybody has parents like that, so I'm just very thankful for my parents and my family. So then I officially dropped out of college. Well, not officially, because I never told my college that I was quitting. I deleted all the groups, I deleted the college email ID, and I even deleted WhatsApp because it was so triggering to me at that point. So I did not use WhatsApp for like 2-3 months after that. So that was the story. That was my experience of dropping out of college. So the question is, now that I am of sound mind, do I regret dropping out of college? Do I regret my decision of leaving a very prestigious fashion college which I was very passionate about? And the answer is no, I do not regret the decision at all. I am in fact very happy, and I'm very proud of myself for having the courage to make such an unconventional decision. And I think that it was probably the best decision that I ever made in my life. But having said that, you should also know that I do not regret going to NIFT Delhi, because I would not have learned all the things that I did learn from there if I did not ever join. But now I know that it was not for me. It was very encouraging to be a part of, I can say, cool community, and very supportive, very safe. It just felt very right to be surrounded with like-minded people and creative people, and to be surrounded with creativity all the time. It was an experience that I will never forget, and I do not regret going there. But I also do not regret my decision of quitting it, because it just did not work out for me. I am very grateful because everything happens for a reason, and everything turned out to be perfect except for all the mental health struggles. But now I'm fine. So yeah, I guess I just wanted to make this video because I'm kind of proud of myself for taking such a huge step towards prioritizing my mental health. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not trying to influence anyone to drop out of college. I don't think anyone can influence someone to make such a big decision in their life. But if you're going through the same thing that I went through and you genuinely want to leave college, then I think it would be helpful for you to know that it's okay to do so. I did it and I'm fine. I mean, as long as you have a plan to survive in this world without a degree, because I do, I'm completely confident of myself that I can do, I think I can do anything without a degree. And I'm sure that I can fend for myself in the future without a degree. So if you feel the same, then I think that it's completely fine to drop out of college. I obviously know that education is very important, but a lot of us are not consciously thinking it through when we are joining a college, because a lot of us don't have an idea of what we want to do with our life, and then we join whatever college our parents tell us to, and then we realize that we don't want to be there, and that's just really not the way it is supposed to be. But it's not anyone's fault because it's still completely ingrained in our society. So what I'm trying to say is that I am this is a very interesting period of my life, and I'm probably never going to have such freedom and the joy of doing nothing and not being attached to any institution or not being answerable to anyone or anything. So I'm just really trying to enjoy and learn and grow as much as I can before becoming a working robot. So when I meet strangers and they ask me about my college, it's just too much to explain everything. I don't know why I felt ashamed to tell people that I dropped out of college without them knowing the context behind it. So I guess I wanted to make this video because I'm actually proud of myself for doing that. And like I said, I this was one of the best decisions that I made in my life. So in conclusion, I once again want to say that there's nothing wrong with my college, and I'm not trying to blame them for anything. It was just about me prioritizing my present over my possible unknown future. And I also get a lot of people asking me if they should go to NIFT Delhi and if it is good. And I mean, it's obviously a very prestigious institution and you can learn a lot if you have the right mindset. But if you're just looking to start your own clothing brand in the future, then it is absolutely not necessary for you to spend all that money in any fashion college, because you do not need a degree to start your own clothing brand. But obviously, if you get a degree from NIFT Delhi or any other NIFT or any other fashion institution, then you will obviously have the credentials to secure a job, if you're interested in that. But I can never work under someone. So if you're like me and you are very interested in fashion but you don't want to work for other people and you just want to start your own clothing brand or any brand, then you don't have to waste all your money and time to get a degree. But I understand it's not just about the degree, it's about the experience of being in a community. And at this age, it's very important for us to have a sense of community, have a sense of belonging to like-minded people. So it's really up to you if you decide to get a degree or not. But at the end of the day, as I said, you do not need a degree to start a clothing brand. I really hope that this was helpful to someone in some way, and I'm sorry if I was a bit extra or a bit all over the place because I was kind of nervous to film this video, because my extended family does not really know about this, neither do most of my friends or people that I used to go to school with. So I was kind of nervous about it. But now that I'm done, I'm so relieved because I finally get to start my college dropout diaries. I don't know why, but ever since I dropped out of college, I've always wanted to start this series because I don't know, I love my life, and I love it when my sisters are leaving for college every morning and I'm just lying there on my bed scrolling through my phone, not having to worry about, traveling to college in all the heat and not having any assignments is the best feeling ever. I think it would be such a waste if I don't film it. So thank you for watching, and if you're still here, please subscribe to my channel. I'm not shy anymore because I'm really serious this time. I hope so. And I know that all of you secretly want to leave college, so subscribe to my channel so you can live vicariously through me by watching my videos. I'll see you in the next one.